Welcome, everyone, to episode 25 of Kiss Meets the Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
I'm Brent.
And this has been a painful-ass fucking episode to get done for you, but here it is. This week, we're joined by a very special guest this week, Jason, also known as Mountainous on YouTube. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, how are you guys?
Oh, I'm about to blow my head off with all these technical issues, but doing good, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Everyone's going to be like, okay, the show's just started. Say, no, we've been here an hour trying to get these cameras working.
Yeah. The shit we have to go through to get these episodes done, I tell you. But, so Jason's joining us all the way from Oregon. So how's it going, man?
Oh, pretty good. I'm out here on Mount Oregon watching the snow fall out the window.
Yeah, it's like 70, sometimes 90 degrees out here, so I feel for you, man. But,
go ahead, say again, R2.
Yeah, audio issues, but I feel for you, though. It's pretty warm.
A little audio issue there.
Yeah. Well, we're going to touch on the Indianapolis Kiss Expo a little bit since we didn't get a chance to cover that in the episode we tried to record last week. We're going to get to that later on the show, but right now we want to talk to Jason. We want to get your story about Kiss and how you got into Kiss, all that kind of stuff, as Brant has UFOs in his room.
Yeah, basically, as I got into Kiss at about 6 years old, my older brothers got me into Kiss. I grew up in a real religious family. I would say it's Amish with cars, basically. So we didn't have TVs. You know, we had to hide the fact that we liked Kiss, and we would go in the basement. We had a tiny 8-track player that was about a foot by a foot that was red that you could put them on the inside there. And we had some Kiss 8-tracks and some magazines that had Kiss in it, but we had never seen a commercial or anything of the move. We didn't have a Kiss van or Kiss toys. And then one year for Christmas, my brother took his paper out money or something, maybe yard mowing money, and he bought me the Gene Simmons doll, and he had one of his friends go to the neighboring town to pick it up. And we just really loved him as kids, and, we would be in the basement, dressing up like Kiss, as in, bike inner tubes for bandoliers, BMX inner tubes with the valve stem behind the neck. I had a dog necklace that was like a dog chain with like one of those plastic Halloween spider rings, and we just had stuff like that because, we didn't have any Kiss costumes like the kids have now, and our parents wouldn't have bought it even if it was $1, because they didn't like it. So we had to be real imaginative with it, and aluminum foil went a long way back then, and we used shoes and we had a little tin drum and some, milk jug drums and, an acoustic guitar. And we would just pretend we were a band, and we called ourselves Black Diamond. But we were felt like we were the most diehard Kiss fans ever, and we didn't have any Kiss stuff or anything.
That's awesome, man. It's all about the imagination and making it happen one way or another. That's really cool. So you mentioned before we got on the show, you had a period where you got out of Kiss. How'd that come about?
Basically, once the makeup come off, it was like Superman taking off the cape. We kind of lost the desire to. We almost idolized them. They were larger than life. We didn't think about it almost even as makeup or that Gene spit fake blood. I mean, we thought it was real blood. We thought he was a demon. I mean, so when that came off, it wasn't that exciting. We were getting older, and we were listening more like Metallica and other, Black Sabbath and hard kind of, I would call it, heavy metal, basically. And Kiss was like our childhood band. And, sure, we liked the hits that came out, Lick It Up and Tears Are Falling and a bunch of those songs. But most of us didn't even get the albums. I mean, my brother, I think, had Animalize on cassette. We had Asylum. But we didn't really have any of the non-makeup albums. And when the reunion tour came out, my one brother went to the concert, and it was nostalgic, and I got the dolls at Spencer's, and we thought it was cool that our childhood band put the makeup on. Well, we pretty much it just faded away. And it wasn't until about 7 years ago that I just, for some random reason, started looking up Kiss videos and decided to get a guitar, start learning to play Kiss songs. I slowly got my brothers back into Kiss. We started going to the expos and concerts. Next thing you know, we have a house full of Kiss suits, guitars, and boots, and we're going to these events all the time, and it's like it's just kids again, except now we have the time and money to actually go to the events and buy the things we like, which as a kid, we didn't have anything. I would use a magic marker on my face.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So would you say that now you have a love for all the Unmasked stuff compared to what it was back, when you first got out of it?
Yeah, well, it's actually weird, somehow these expos, the way they happen, it's like one year Eric Singer was going to be there, and I randomly bought my brothers all Catman Halloween masks and the Catman leather belt as a Christmas gift, and then that year Eric Singer, so we all took pictures in the Catman mask, and we all got the leather belt signed. It was like the Rock the Nation belts. So this year, I didn't know it was going to be Kulik, and yet this year, for some reason, it's almost all I listened to was non-makeup stuff this year. So all winter, I was listening to Crazy Nights and Asylum and Animalize More and just watching a lot of footage from the non-makeup era, and then it ends up being Kulik. So I was extra excited, even though I've met him a few times, because I was getting into his music more.
That's awesome. I can relate right there with you. Like Asylum, that album grew on me a lot more this year than what it has all these years. A little bit of Crazy Nights too. I've listened to that a little more. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that ties together. So, how many times have you seen Kiss in concert?
I saw him in '92 when I was at SIU. Me and my brothers went, and that was the non-makeup when we weren't really into him. I just went because it was like, ooh, our childhood band, let's go.
Yeah.
So I saw him in '92, and then I never saw him again because I never got back into him until the last 7 years. So in 2012, I had a friend who's had a relative that had something to do with the creation of the Monster stage, and he got us free tickets in Portland to go see the show in 2012 with Motley Crue. And so we got like 10th row on the floor, center stage, free tickets for that. And it was unreal for me because it was my first time in makeup, and I had been a Kiss fan for so many years. And being back into them and as an older person, learning to appreciate, as you're older, you appreciate things more. So I appreciate the kid, and I was just, it was unbelievable to me, actually, and I got a lot of good video from that. And then I seen him again in 2014 in Portland again, and we showed up, and we got free VIP tickets with free backstage meet and greet for 6 of us we didn't know we were going to get. When we showed up at the gate and we told them our name, they gave us this envelope. When we opened it, there's like a letter in it and these 6 gold bracelets, and we're like, what's going on? Like, we were just happy to get free tickets. So that was just unbelievable. And then a couple of months later, I seen him again with my brothers in Tinley. So I've only seen him 4 times, 3 times in makeup, never the original lineup. And I seen him, the Hot in the Shade tour.
Nice. So you thought you was getting a tour of the Wonka factory or something, huh? I got the golden bracelet.
Can you go ahead and say that again?
It was dumb the first time. It'll be even dumber.
You'll have some editing to do.
I said you probably thought you was going to get a trip through the Wonka factory with those golden bracelets. He's probably wondering what was going on, huh? Fuck
I
it.
couldn't hear that either. It was cutting out. I'm sorry, dude.
Fuck it. I'm editing it out. Fuck it.
I'd leave everything in. I wouldn't edit anything out.
I see Brandon lit a fat one up. All the
I
smoke.
feel like I'm fucking tripping here or something, man. The voice is like.
Yours slows down occasionally.
Like,
It's
am I talking to 2 fucking robots or what the hell's
tripping?
God.
Oh fuck. Oh,
Fuck book. Shit. All right, cool. So, do you think we got the main part of that, or all of it?
oh yeah. Hmm.
Oh God, I hope.
And the UFO's back.
Glitch.
There's always the one guy with the
But
shit.
it's weird. Sometimes one of your cameras will do it, and the other one doesn't. Like one of yours, because I can see the smoke from a cigarette going up, and then like sometimes yours will be glitchy. Or a joint, one of the two.
Incense.
Oh.
He smokes incense.
I need to smoke some incense. Hold on real quick.
Nah, there's always one guy that has shitty internet connection with these podcasts, I tell you.
Yeah, I don't think that Skype or Facebook can hold more than one or two people at a time. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and it's also, like I said, because I'm in the middle of the fucking boonies, and it's just, it sucks.
So you've seen Kiss at least a handful of times in concert. Speak a little bit about the Hot in the Shade concert that you saw, being, Eric Carr was with them at the time, obviously. I personally never got to see them in that era, so what kind of memories do you have of that show?
Of the Hot in the Shade tour?
Yeah.
Basically, me and my brother went there, and we were in college. We would come from a small town, so we were at the concert, and obviously we're drunker and Billy Goats, When I was young, I felt the need, and this is to go out to young kids. When I was young, I felt the need to get, wasted when I'd go to concerts, and then you don't remember them as much as you should. And when you get older, you realize you pay a lot of money, and you want to remember every bit you can. So, kids, don't go out and party too hard for the concert because you won't remember it as much. But I remember I had a blast. I was fifth row center stage, and I remember Gene looking down at me and my brother, sticking his tongue out at us, and we loved it, So I had a good time at it. I remember the big Sphinx head and it mouth opening and them coming out mainly, but I was surprised at how many Kiss songs they played from the old era. It was like the whole set list was all make-up songs except for maybe 3 songs.
Nice. Do you remember Eric's solo or anything like that from the show? Or?
No, but my brother actually got, because his friend worked at the arena and did like sound and stuff for different bands. Uh-huh. And I even worked there for Walt Disney on Ice and MC Hammer, just because college kids get a job. And I was, you can get all kinds of jobs working when these events come. They hire part-time college kids to help tear down the stage and this and that. So my brother's friend worked there a whole semester or maybe more and got my brother one of the drums head that Eric actually played on. Oh, and my brother still has it. It was actually a used drum head from Eric from Hot in the Shade that he's got.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
That's cool.
So that's really cool.
Man.
And I got a Gene pick that night, too. We kind of hung out afterwards, just looked around on the floor, and we found a few picks. And I've tried that now with all the confetti and everyone fiending. You won't find a pick ever, probably. But back then, we walked around and we found a few, so I still got that as well.
Awesome. Now also you talked about, a few years ago you were surprised with the golden bracelets and the VIP treatment. Go into more detail of that. Like, what was your initial feeling, and tell us more about what actually went on. And
you mean like how we got the passes and then the experience?
Well, I mean, like, what were you feeling when you found out what exactly that was?
I called my brother. I didn't even believe what I was reading. I called my brother on the phone and said, Zach, I'm reading this, and it says you have a meet at this door at 8:30 for a special photo op meet and greet experience. And I couldn't freaking believe it, and the dude I was with couldn't believe it either. I mean, because by that point I had been back into Kiss for a few years, and I mean, I was like starting to get more Kiss guitars, boots, toys. I mean, I was like, being the Kiss fan I wish I could have been as a kid growing up with hardly any money in an almost Amish-style household.
Right.
So, to me now it's like, whoa, I can buy Kiss boots for real. I can do this. I can do that. I was blown away. So for me, I was mind blown because I already went there to film a video and take pictures. And now I knew I was getting to film this.
Yeah.
So it was freaking amazing to me, and, I had met Tommy and Eric at a, Expo, and I, met a few of them throughout, the couple years prior to that, but I'd never seen them in the makeup, all there together. And, anyone can look on my YouTube if they type in Kiss Meet and Greet Mountainous, they'll find that on YouTube. They can see the excitement that I had. And, I was overwhelmed,
Yeah, that was a really cool
and
video.
for one, it's so expensive. So I would have never shelled out that kind of money. Now, do I think it's worth it if you can afford it? Yeah, if people want to do that, great. But I probably wouldn't have done it because I can meet them at the Expo for like $20 to $50.
Right.
60, maybe a platinum 100. But you'll never see them all together in all the makeup. So yeah, for me it was exciting because I was getting to do it. But the fact that I was getting to do it for free and that I didn't even know it was going to happen, escalated it by 10 times in the excitement level for me.
I can imagine. I'd have probably pissed and shit my pants all at the same time. I'd have been in that photo shoot wearing a diaper.
You wouldn't believe it, dude.
But
What?
I'd have been in a diaper in the photo shoot because I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have had any clean pants on, but.
It was wild, man. I couldn't even believe it. I'm walking around the back and there's with all kinds of fists of liquor and drinks and soda pop and ice, and there's a room full of hors d'oeuvres and appetizers, and you see Kiss dressing room side, and I'm walking around back there and I see Doc McGee and I go up and take a picture with him, and I'm just going, holy shit, this is unbelievable. I couldn't even believe it.
That's awesome, man. That's like a bucket list thing for me now, because I've met them all except for Paul, and now it's kind of okay, now I want to meet them in the makeup and costumes. I've never met any of them like that either, and that's kind of like a bucket list thing for me. But yeah, like you were saying, the price of it, either doing it there or on the cruise is not cheap either ways. But
yeah,
who knows?
And the weird thing is, if we would have showed up earlier, we might have gotten to go in that room where they do the acoustic jam and all that, but we didn't even know it was coming, so we just showed up at normal concert time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But still, that's...
I probably could have walked around in different areas with a bracelet all over the place getting really unreal footage, but by the time we got there and got our seats to the show, we listened to a few songs. I think it was, Def Leppard, and then we went in the back and waited in the tent. Me and my friend were the first ones in the private tent. It was like a white vinyl tent with the backdrop where you walk in front of it and get your pictures. Mm-hmm. We were the first ones in there, and because we were probably the only ones that got the meet and greet without paying, and so we were the first in there, and we were just going, holy cow, all the drinks are for us, and we're just walking around and we can see the backdrop. We know where it's going to happen. I'm we're going to be right there. They're going to come in right there. And there was 20 minutes before the few other people started trickling in, but I would say there was only maybe 20 people that did the meet and greet at the show. It was a very small group.
Not to jump around too much, but I was curious as to jump around. No, I was curious as to what's your favorite Kiss albums, and how do you feel about certain ones that's not your favorites?
I would say it would be depending on the time. Right now my favorite Kiss album is probably Asylum. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, it was Sonic Boom, because I hated that album, just like I didn't like Monster either, but for some reason I listened to it a few more times, and then Sonic Boom became all I listened to for a year at work every day. I'd loop that thing 5 times. I just thought it reminded me of some old style Kiss. When I was a kid, I actually probably liked Dynasty and Unmasked the most because of my age. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I was born in '72, so when the Dolls came out in the Love Gun suits, that was like 77, I think, and then 78 is when I got mine. So, I mean, the albums that I remember, we had Dressed to Kill, and I liked them, but, you know, I would have been, 1 year old or something, you know? So, basically, I actually liked Dynasty, and we had all the solo albums on 8-track too, but we didn't listen to them ever. I don't remember hardly ever listening to them, and I almost remembered not liking them. And then as I got back into Kiss and my brother got me the CDs for the solo albums, I fell in love with Paul's and Ace's, and I learned how to play quite a few songs on both of the albums. And then it took me a while to like Peter's, but then once I started playing it more, I really got into Peter's solo album too, and Gene's as well. So I wouldn't say there's any I don't like, because we always liked the Elder as kids.
Yeah.
But I would say I like, Rock and Roll Over, Destroyer.
Those are favorites?
Maybe Love Gun. I mean, I like them all, you know. I mean, I feel like every song is good on all of the non-makeup albums, and I don't think there's any bad ones.
Yeah. Legend has it that Branton used to play Peter's 8-track so much that he broke it and wore it out. He loves that.
My brother might have them somewhere, but they were in our basement for so many years that the tape was all warped, but he might actually have them somewhere. But
it might actually make it sound better.
I liked Kiss Alive too as a kid too. I liked the cover of that, and we had Double Platinum. We had that as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And I recently at an expo had bought an 8-track in like mint shape of Alive 2 and had Bob Kulick sign it, which to me, I thought about Kiss of things I didn't know back when I was a kid when I got back into them. So I didn't know Bob played on an album, but I liked all tracks signed by Bob Kulick. I wouldn't have thought that's cool, like getting something signed by Gene or something, but later, My Asylum signed by Bob Kulick's as cool as other Kiss items I got signed by Paul or Gene, to me.
Right. Well, I'm curious, if you could pinpoint like any one moment in history or something that you remember, what would be your one favorite moment that is your favorite memory of Kiss?
Me and my brothers had all seen Kiss, and I had seen Hot in the Shade with one brother, but we had never seen them, all three brothers, together. And in 2014, all three of us got to see them in makeup together and watch the curtain come down, and when they're announcing the Kiss and the music and it's dark and the red lights moving around and it's about to happen, and it's like chills up your spine shit, you know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
So that was really amazing to get to go to the concert with my brothers, like finally to make it happen. So that was really cool, and that was the 2000 Park. The other moment was, and it even has to do with this hat, that we actually got this hat. All three of us bought it without knowing the other ones bought it when we were at the merchandise booth. We each purchased this hat without knowing that the other guy was buying it. So when we were coming home from the concert the next day, 'cause we got a hotel, we were rolling through a retirement home where my grandma, who recently passed away at about 104 years old.
Oh, wow.
We went and stopped there, and we got a picture with our grandma, all of us wearing this Kiss hat. Now, the reason that's cool is because we had never seen Kiss except in magazines. Well, our grandma didn't go to that church, and she had a TV. And when that movie was coming out, we asked if we could go over there. And me and my brother sat on the floor with our grandma and watched Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park when we were like, I would say 6 to 12 years old, in that range between us three brothers. And we sat and watched that on a black and white TV, and it was so cool to see them move for the first time and to see what they actually look like. So it was cool going to that show, but also getting the photo with my grandma, all of us wearing these hats together, because she was the one that kind of, not to say started it all, we always liked Kiss, but once we seen them, other than just photos, we were hooked even more as children,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a really cool story.
Awesome, yeah.
So let's go ahead and kind of get into Expo a little bit. I know there's quite a bit to talk about with that. And so, tell us about your trip over and the presidential suite that you stayed in.
Anyway, me and my brothers go there this year. We always get a room for 2 nights. It's a chance for me and my brothers to go do this without any of the rest of the family or anything like that and just get away, us brothers. So we go there and we go to the front desk and said, hey, do you have a room that's got a little more space and maybe a refrigerator a little closer to the expo? Because it's nice to be able to take the things you buy right back to your room and drop them off and not have to carry them around.
Yeah.
So they set us up with this room, and we go around to the other door, and when I walked in, this is like a 40-foot by 40-foot room. I couldn't believe how freaking massive this room was. And there's like a bed and couches and chairs, and there's like an executive table that's like 14 feet long, 7 feet wide with like 14 leather reclining swivel chairs. I mean, it was such a killer room and spacious that it ended up just being a party spot both nights where all the main KISS Indy people were periodically showing up there to, you know, whether it's to have a drink or hang out or just, you know, relax a little bit and sit down from standing up all day. So it was definitely like the hangout spot for a lot of the main people you see at Indy each year.
That's awesome. So you mentioned you and your brothers. Do you guys all live in the same vicinity, or are you guys kind of distant? Or
they both live in the Midwest in Illinois, about an hour from each other. And I live 2,000 miles away on Mount Hood, and I fly to Illinois every year for this event, and I'm there for about 2 weeks, and we fit the Indy in the middle of that trip somehow. So I wait to buy my ticket and plan my trip until they announce the date. And then I usually come like a week before and I leave a week after so that, you know, I can have plenty of time with family and I don't feel bad going on this trip because Mom would be like, you're here for 4 days and you're going to KISS for 2? So I come home for, you know, like 2 weeks so that I don't feel bad for going away for 2 days, you know. Right. My mom is old and I've lost my dad. And so I want to spend as much time with her as I can, but I also want to get away with just the brothers and cut loose, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, especially when you live so far apart, you know, you got to take advantage of the time. So,
oh yeah, we look forward to this Indy event all year, man.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Christmas for me. I look forward to that more than Christmas itself and everything. So,
oh yeah, man.
So, was there anything about this year's Expo that was maybe kind of a con on your end, like as far as a downside to it, if anything?
The only thing is I like a tribute band at the end of the shows. Okay. Now, some people, they leave and don't stay for the tribute band. I don't know, but to me, that's one of the things I look forward to the most. But I also thought of it in a way, like we got to hear Bruce and Bob jam close up, and, you know, so I feel like if they're not going to have a tribute band, they should at least have something like that, whether it's, even if it was just Bruce, play along with like some backtracking of a song, and then he just plays along like a whole song or two, you know, or whether it's a local band like DST, you know, play a small set, and Bruce and Bob get up and jam with them. So I feel like if you're not going to have a tribute band in full makeup and the whole deal, you definitely still have to have some kind of live performance, even if it's just Bruce with a solo guitar and a microphone by himself singing a KISS song, you know?
Exactly. You know, I agree. It's kind of nice seeing a live band, but that's...
Can you repeat that question?
I was just saying I agree with, you know, the tribute band thing. It's been kind of customary the last however many years to have the tribute band, and but at the same time, you know, like you said, with Bruce doing his thing and Bob doing his thing, it was kind of like having the concert after all. So it was kind of like not as bittersweet, you know what I mean?
It made up for it.
Right. Now, my biggest gripe was when it came to the merchandise. You know, last year, being that it was at a different venue, it seemed like there was a lot more dealers that had a lot of the vintage stuff and the really cool collectible stuff. And then this year, back at the normal place, a lot of that stuff was nowhere to be seen. I mean, thankfully, you know, there was a couple guys that had some kind of different stuff, a little bit of vintage stuff here and different things. But that was kind of
at that Caribbean Cove, at the Caribbean Cove, they had a whole hallway full of like a few people that had vintage stuff. I don't know for sure why they don't do that. I don't know if it's because Kiss Army Warehouse is the one that puts it on, and they're like, we just want to have our own merchandise there, or if just the vendors didn't want to come. I don't know if they had the option, or if they didn't want to pay for the booth, because maybe some of the vendors, as much as we enjoy it, if they only sell 10 or 20 items, they barely make the money to pay the booth back, and now they've lost some, items that really meant a lot to them maybe or something. Because a lot of those vendors, they don't have a ton of stuff. I mean, there's maybe 100 items on their table. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they might only sell 15 of them, in a day.
Yeah,
because it's not super cheap stuff that's mass produced. It's old school stuff that, isn't super cheap either.
I mean, sometimes they don't even have the room on their tables for everything that they have with them. There was a guy last year, I remember he had tubs of stuff behind him that had more stuff in it that he didn't have the room to put out. So, sometimes that could hurt them too. But, and I don't know for sure, but maybe the tables at this place are more, they're charging more than what they were charging last year. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but I don't know if they, I kind of walked
if they were to increase the price of the tables, it might make it so that less outside business, other people don't want to come.
Right. And,
I don't know all the politics on that. I mean, I'm always happy each year. There's more stuff than I could ever want to buy.
Yeah.
And I usually go there each year with a plan to buy a few things, and I always buy more than I end up wanting, just because there's a lot of, when they put the $1 or the $5 table and those things, I'll see stuff that I want. But, I went there this year to try to just do one big purchase, and I was hoping to find an album that I could have Bruce sign, which I ended up finding an Asylum album in mint shape with the insert, got it really good price, and then I got Bruce to sign it with the silver Sharpie.
Awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I walked in there with the expectations like, hopefully those same vendors will be there and this and that, and then walked in and it was kind of like, damn. But again, I was happy that the ericcarr.com people were back this year. That was one of the tables I was hoping would be there. And then, like I say, with the Kiss My Podcast guys, the stuff that Tom Shannon brought and, a couple other guys at some tables next to them, they had a decent amount of different type of stuff to kind of, I guess, satisfy a real small gripe about it, if you want to even call it that. But other than that, I always enjoy the Expo.
Yeah, it's nice to have always a few tables with a few vintage things. I remember seeing before certain things that I wouldn't have bought before, but I probably would have bought this year, where I just see the little bumper that went inside the Kiss pinball game.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen guys that have a thing with a glass case, and there'll just be random little things in there, and it'll be just a Mego doll head.
Yeah.
Because maybe someone had a doll and the paint rubbed off the nose, they can replace the head. I don't know. But there's be random tidbits, and I've seen before, and I'm like, I'll never have the space or probably want to spend the money on a Kiss pinball machine. But if I could just get one of the pieces inside, the iconic bumper with one of their faces, that would be a cool collectible for me.
Exactly.
That would be good enough. I don't need to own the pinball machine.
Right.
So at least have those options when those old school vendors show up of seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, so other than that, I was, I always loved the Expo. I mean, more so than just the material stuff. It's like, like I mentioned, seeing all the familiar faces and trying to make, new friends. And, especially with us doing this podcast now, we walked in there with kind of the idea of, okay, this is going to be a good chance to really kind of get our name out there more, and, passing out the stickers and talking to some potential guests, which, you were one of them, and, getting a lot of that stuff lined up. So, I felt pretty satisfied and, proud after the Expo was done with what we had accomplished and lined up. Like I say, we're like the little engine that could. So we're trying to start growing slowly but surely. But it definitely helps spreading the word out, and the Expo is one of the best ways to do that.
Yeah, and the one I did hear a gripe from a few people that it was on Easter weekend. Because they've done it before where it's on like Mother's Day weekend or Easter weekend, and I've noticed when they do that, the turnout is always smaller. Now, me being a person that lives in the middle of the wilderness on a volcano who doesn't like to be around tons of people, I really don't mind it if the Expo's got 400 people or 1,000. Actually, I enjoy it when there's less people because I feel like the KISS guys give us more of their time, and the merchandise doesn't just get wiped out. Now, from a business standpoint, I know that the KISS Army Warehouse always would like to sell as much product as they can. No matter what they sell, they would always want to sell more. That's a business standpoint. And they would like to probably sell as many VIP or platinum tickets because I would assume Eric or whoever gets paid for coming to this thing, and maybe it depends, they get a certain amount depending on how many people show, or I don't know how it works, but I know that when they plan it on a holiday weekend, it usually is a smaller turnout for them.
Right.
But I know they're limited with touring schedules and other things, but some people griped because they couldn't justify going because they had family obligations and stuff this year.
Right. Well, if they had waited till May or something, guess what? They wasn't going to have Eric or anybody from the band. Bruce and Bob, I'd have still been fine with that. And then maybe they could have got some other random people, but they try to make the point of getting someone that's currently in the band as often as possible.
Oh, yeah. I would like to see Ace or Peter even though there's issues with that. I know that Peter just did a New Jersey Expo. There is the chance of them coming, and I have talked to certain powers that be. I can't really talk about it, but, there is a chance that we will see them there.
I would love
or
that.
At least one of them there in the future, possibly. So, that would be really cool. But as I said before also, I wouldn't care if they said we're not going to do it because nobody can be there. It's too busy. They've had Maria Contessa, the lady that makes the KISS costumes, or if it was someone that did the Destroyer artwork, or I don't care. If they even had a couple people and just charged less and said, do you want us to not have one this year because we don't have any of the main guys can't make it this year and we're very busy touring or with a new album, I would still want them to do it, even if it was just a tribute band and, a few random people like that.
Yeah.
Mr. Speed could do a meet and greet. It wouldn't matter.
I'm sorry, but
it's more about the event, which KISS guy is going to be there.
Well, I'm almost more interested in meeting people that have worked with the band and, tied in with them one way. Like you said, Maria Contessa, Ken Kelly, I'd love to meet him again. He was a real nice guy. People like that have worked with them or been involved. Bring Lydia Chris there. All that kind of stuff. And Lynn Christopher.
Could you go ahead and say that last part again? It was kind of cutting out.
I was saying, get Lydia Chris to come, or even Lynn Christopher, and just in general, people that's worked with them or tied in with them one way or another is. I'd almost be more.
Vinnie Vincent.
Sure.
Vinnie Vincent, yeah.
Vinnie
It's fun to even.
Rick Derringer.
I'll just run into people that have been to the KISS cruise when you haven't, and you'll see someone wearing a KISS cruise shirt, and you go, "Do you go?" And they're like, they'll tell you kind of what it was about, or you might run into someone wearing the concert shirt, and you're like, "Oh, did you go to that show?" "Yeah, I did," and it's the same town you went, and next thing you know, they were 100. They might have been 10 rows behind you, So
yeah.
You meet a lot of people, and a lot of these people I keep in touch with yearly on Facebook. You know about their family, their life. You interact with them all year, and then about a month from Expo time, everyone's contacting each other. "Oh, are you ready to hang out? What room are you going to be in? Oh, are we going to party this? Well, let's go out to eat together,"
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's so excited for it, but,
That's
these
awesome.
friends that I've made through Indy Expo are like lifelong friends now, I feel like.
Yeah. Brayton and I, we went to the same show over the summer last year here in Dayton over the summer last year. And I remember seeing a lot of those familiar faces at that show. I remember seeing Kenny and, quite a few other people. I was almost right across the aisle from Kenny. Just glanced over, oh, there's Kenny. And, you know, it's just really cool. Like, you know, that it's really like a family vibe. Even, like I said, even though I don't personally know a lot of those people, I do recognize the faces. And, you know, I guess I should start trying to get to know some of these people, you know, as the years go by. But, you know, it was kind of the same with you, though, to be honest. I mean, we kind of, you know, we finally pretty much introduced ourselves this year, even though I'd seen you there the last, you know, 3-4 years or whatever.
Well, it's weird. I saw the family vibe of the core people that had went more years than I had been doing it a while. And I wouldn't say I was jealous. I'm not that kind of person, but I was almost envious of like this feeling of family. And the only I've felt that before when I was in a martial arts organization, or when I used to race BMX with some guys, or freestyle with certain people, doing certain hobbies. I felt that group, you know. And so I made an effort within a year or two of going to really, those people I seen over and over, to say hi to talk to them more, and to, you know, some people I think you could just go and do your own thing and go for, you like, I went 20 years in a row and I've never hung out with any of these people, but
yeah,
I wanted to get to know the people, and I put the effort in, you know, because it's sometimes not a one-way street. You got to both do it, where I'm willing to say, hey, you know, if you want to come party in our room, or hey, we're going out to eat a little bit later, if you guys want to go, you don't got plans, you know. We tried to meet the people and become part of the group, you know. I wasn't going to just kind of sit back. I was like, no, I'm going to be part of this group. This is a great group. I like it. And so I kind of threw myself into it, kind of.
It's kind of funny you say that, because that's kind of the same feeling that I get, at least the last couple of years, like noticing that almost like that big inner circle of those certain people. And I'm kind of feeling that same way the last couple of years myself. Like, you know, I kind of want to get into that family circle. And, you know, so I feel like we definitely kind of took more steps towards that just this year with, you know, what we were talking about earlier with all the, you know, promotion and introducing ourselves and whatnot. But, yeah, you know, it's a great event. You know, like I say, better than Christmas. So I'm going to... Christmas, yes. So, Jason, one of the main things that you go to the Expo, you like to film pretty much like a documentary style video, kind of recapping the whole Expo. I know that's how I first ran across your YouTube channel. The year that Gene was there, that was the first year I went, and I, you know, was searching YouTube, you know, just looking for videos from it, and ran across yours, and you know, I was like, wow, you know, I remember this, and I remember seeing you walking around the place. Didn't know that it was you at the time until I saw the video, and so now I watch them every year, and it's definitely like reliving it. Like, oh, I remember that, or I remember seeing that person. So, talk a little bit more about, you know, what made you want to do that, why you do it, even how you do it.
Well, I was already an amateur videographer. I make a lot of videos on YouTube. My channel's youtube.com/Mountainous. And I make a lot of videos on BMX, snowboarding, survival, guns, martial arts, archery, camping, rafting, product reviews, and just anything that I'm really into. So once I started getting back into KISS, I started making videos showing KISS makeup, or if I got a new KISS guitar, I would show it. So when I went to the first Expo, I knew that I was going to make a video, but I was looking up videos and I never saw something like I would want to produce. I seen maybe someone just filming a question and answers, or someone filming the meet and greet. There wasn't like a documentary that wrapped up the whole event to where someone who doesn't get to go to these could watch it and kind of see what all goes on. They might get to see part of the costume contest, or meet and greet, the tribute band, even kind of the ride there, or the party the night before, and the camaraderie and the merchandise. So I try to, in my video, make it so that someone who's never went to one of these, when they watch it, they have to go. Like, when they watch it, I want them to feel like, wow, as a KISS fan, I'm missing out. I got to go to one of these. that I can watch them and relive them. It's my videos on YouTube are kind of like a diary for my life, so that I can go back and look at the things that I got to do. And also, since I live far from my family, 2,000 miles away, when I make the videos out here in Oregon, my brothers can watch them and see what I'm up to. Mm-hmm. So it's almost just like a family journal for me. And if anyone else in the world wants to tune in, that's a bonus. But I make them basically, and I don't mean to sound selfish, but just for me and my family. But I do make them, obviously, for my YouTube audience, and I make them for people that get to go to the expos and for those who can't go. Some people, they go some years and they can't. They can watch my video and see what they missed. If they went to the expo and they didn't film anything and they want to show their friend what the experience was like, they can send them a link to, hey, this is the event I went to last weekend, you should have went to it or something. So I make it for, obviously, everyone that's in it also. You know, like I try to include all the main people every year in it, Kenny, Bob, the main faces that I see every year, so that even if they're just in one photo with me, they're in that expo, you know, the family, you know. So I try every year to do that. And next year, now that I know you guys, I'll make sure that you guys are in my video, even if it's just photo of us together, or you guys might be in the intro saying, "Do it big, baby."
I would say.
Did you like the intro this year with everyone saying, "Do it big, baby"?
Yeah, that was awesome. I would try to do some of that American Fat Ass, but I wouldn't be able to hang with that. So in a way, it's kind of like a video yearbook as well, because it's like you're looking back at, you know, all the faces that were there, the friends that were there, and, you know, it's kind of, you know, remembering, you know, 10, 20 years down the road, who knows where we'll be or what's going to happen. You'll be able to look back at those and, you know, remember the faces of, you know, we don't know what
that's
will happen.
Definitely what it's for. It's to be able to relive it and try to remember the feeling that I had and the faces that were seen and the people I hung out with, and even in the hotel we're at. I mean, to me, I would like to capture more of it, but I have to have a balance too. I'm not getting paid to make these videos, but right. I try to make it so good that when I'm sure there's people that never went to an expo that will live in that area that seen my video, even if it's a small percentage that went to their first expo because they seen one of my rockumentaries, even if it's just a couple people. Because I have people come up to me every year and be like, "Hey, can I get photos with you? I've seen your videos." And even small children, you know, that have seen my videos and now they want to go to these expos. Now, I'm not saying that's a high percentage, but there are KISS fans that I feel like that might have said, "I don't know if I want to drive 4 hours to get to this thing." And they see my video and they go, "Well, that looks pretty fun. We might have to go check it out." Because, as I said, I don't just do a question and answer or whatever. I try to give the vibe, because even the drive to the expo is like part of it even, you know. Yeah. It's, you know, packing my bags and which KISS shirts I'm taking, you know what I mean? It's all part of it, you know.
Yeah, and the drive, you know, listening to the KISS music and wearing your face mask thing that you had on, and but, you know, like you mentioned with people that recognize you, I mean, even if it's like one person, that's still, it's like flattering, like that even one person that's a stranger knows who you are because of the hard work you do with all the videos and stuff. You know, it makes it all worthwhile, you know, even if it's just one person.
Yep, and KISS has featured the video like on their Facebook page like 4 out of the last 5 years. This year they didn't, but Bruce Kulick shared it on his Facebook. KISS Army Warehouse shared it on theirs. So it definitely gets shared, you know, by people in the KISS community. One year it was on the KISS Online homepage, and that video got like 1,000 views a day. So wow. Some of them, the new Expo video I just did is almost at 900 views in like a couple weeks, you know. So, I mean, by next year, it'll keep growing because people, a couple months before Expo time, KISS fans are wanting to get excited for the Expo, and they start looking up Expo videos and watching them, because I notice the numbers will grow again before the Expo happens. People will be watching the old videos. Even though they've already went to them, it's like they watch them to like get excited to go, you know?
Yeah, yeah. we kind of said this earlier, but this is something that I noticed you guys used to do in the Expo videos or just other random videos. It was the American Fat Ass series. I've always enjoyed those. Like I say, I'll sit and watch them, and I'm like, I don't know how the hell you can eat that much food all at once, because I know I couldn't. It makes my stomach hurt just watching the video.
Well, check this out. Here's kind of how the American Fat Ass series. Now, for people, as I said, I'm Mountainous on YouTube, and I do all kinds of random videos. Now, the first year we went, we had a group of guys standing behind me that said, "Hey, are you that guy on YouTube?" And I go, "How would you know?" And they go, "Well, we were looking up makeup videos, and we recognized you, and you said you were going to Indy Expo, and we figured we'd see you here," and they ended up in line behind me. Well, we got to know them because we were in line like 6 hours, because back then they didn't do 1 through 25, 25 through 50. We were in line forever. And so by the end, we were so damn hungry that we were like, we hadn't eaten all day because we'd been in line, you know. We were barely getting out of line to go take a bathroom break. So we were starving at the end of the expos. And then same with some of the other ones. In the certain hotels, there wasn't really a restaurant or any fast food right by, depending on the hotel. So sometimes we would go the whole day without eating. Then we would go to leave. And these kids would be like, "Hey, we've seen some of your buffet videos. I want to be in some." So, no, there was like 12 guys in KISS shirts going to a buffet together, and it became kind of an annual tradition. We did it several years in a row, and then the last few years, it just hasn't worked out in timing to go out afterwards, and, you know, because we're trying to get back for Easter to be with my mom or whatever it is. But, right. You know, those videos are because we were at the expo and not eating for the whole day, and so we go out there starving, you know.
I love that. Like, even
and obviously we don't eat like that the whole meal. We just, you know, power chow for the clips, and then it's like, one, you know, the camera gets put away. We eat for 5 minutes. I turn it on. I film someone else shove some food down their mouth, but when I edit it, it makes it look like we're just all just devouring and destroying this place, and that's not really how it is, obviously.
Yeah, that's how it definitely comes off, and then after all that, then you guys are eating like multiple things of ice cream on top. I'm like, oh shit! And I always enjoy the march into the restaurant. Like, you know, you guys look like you're on such a mission as you're walking in there and everything. And
well, the one year we called it the American Fat Ass Part 3, the Destroyer, because my brother James was wearing a Destroyer shirt, and I just zoom up on his belly at the beginning of it, and I put the title screen over his gut. Sorry, him, but that, you know, we're all big as the Storks, you know.
Yeah,
well, anyway, I'm zoomed up on his belly, and it's got the Destroyer shirt like around the, you know, chest, and it says on there, you know, American Fat Ass the Destroyer. So, you know, the march in is very important. We want to make sure we scare the Chinese restaurant people working inside. They're like, there's an army of rock stars out there. Because the one year, a bunch of the guys were in a band, and they had long hair. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I told them, when you march past the camera, you have a look like you want to destroy this place. You know, we're going in.
I would love to be a part of one of those, but I just don't know how well I'd be able to hang. I'll be honest.
You just got to be able to inhale a couple egg rolls. You know, you can get in there.
Yeah. All right. We might have to do that next year. Brandon.
All right. So we kind of got some. We talked a little bit about Indy and the videos, but for anyone wanting to find those videos, if you were to search on YouTube, KISS Indy Expo, and then the word is rockumentary, just like documentary, but rockumentary, and then you could just put in whatever year behind it. So that's KISS Indy Expo, rockumentary, and then you could go 2012, 2013, 14, whatever, and it'll pop up my videos, and that's how you can find them.
The little short video clip that you guys saw of this year's video, make sure you go to his channel to see the full thing, or search on YouTube. But obviously, go to his channel, subscribe to it as well. It's a great video. He does a really good interview with David P. from the KISS costumes.com. And
or KISS Replicas.
KISS Replicas, yeah. Duh.
Yeah, KISS Replicas.
I still got his card sitting right here.
I think the site's KISSReplicas.com.
Yeah, KISSReplicas.com. We actually talked.
Yeah.
We actually talked to David about coming on the show.
I actually got a set of those Love Gun shells that he made at the Expo. I purchased them from the Kiss Army warehouse.
I kept looking at them things. I was like, God, those are cool, man. But
I mean, they're freak. As a kid, I would have never believed I would have a set of these, and these should fit. These should fit on my Rock the Nation jean boots.
Nice.
They should fit on there. So I might end up putting them on there and either making the uppers or buying them from somebody.
Nice. But
yeah, he does good work. I try to make a video of his booth every year at the Indy Expo. Besides filming the expo and including a few clips or photos of his booth, I film a separate video on David's booth of whatever he's got new each year for Kiss replicas.
Yeah, I always
This year
that.
It was the Destroyer booth and the Love Gun boots.
Yeah, definitely enjoy that part of the video, and we actually spoke to David this year about coming on the show at some point. So that's something coming up in the near future. You know, we just got to get all the details worked out with him, but really excited for that as well. So,
yeah, I'm sure he would want to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
He likes to obviously, share what he's doing with passionate Kiss fans, so that obviously he is a businessman too. He wants to sell the products, but and he wants to get by word of mouth or videos it out there for sure. But it's not just for a selfish business plan. He wants to genuinely share these cool pieces that as a kid, even if you had $1 million, you weren't going to find a place to buy a Gene Simmons Destroyer boot.
Right.
And now it gives the everyday person the ability to have suits that look basically just like what Kiss would have worn. And that's a dream come true for, Kiss fans like me or you guys.
Yeah, and then to find out that he made Gene's costume that he wore on the cruise last year, I didn't know that until he mentioned it. I was like, wow, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, I knew last year when I interviewed him that he had at least made the armor for Gene's Preacher suit.
Yeah.
But
it's killer. So there was a certain video I remember seeing on your channel a while back, and I kind of like you to tell the story on here. And anybody that goes to his YouTube channel, definitely look up the video. But there was one, may have been a few years ago now, where you received a guitar from your brother.
Oh yeah, the Paul Stanley Ibanez 2015 signature guitar that came out. Basically, my dad passed away of cancer about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, and that's what it seems like. But he passed away of cancer, and we found out pretty late. And once we found out, he did radiation and chemo and stuff, but he was gone in within about from January we found out to August when he passed away. Well, I live in Oregon, and I'm a chef out here out on Mount Hood, and I don't get to come home on the holidays. I usually get 1 day off in about 3 weeks, and I work insane hours. Christmas is the hardest time of my life, and so I haven't been home for a Christmas in 14 years, even though I go home for 2 trips a year. So in the nursing home where my dad was doing recovery for the cancer, he was on an oxygen tank thing hooked up that he could breathe through if he needed it. He had a trachea tube in and stuff, so he wasn't doing great, but we could take him out into a waiting room. Well, I was home 3 times during a few months during his final days and the surgery and the funeral and everything, but we were sitting there in the waiting room, and Dad was out there, and it was, I think, the last night I was going to get to be with him, and all of a sudden, my nephew puts on a Hooters orange and white Santa Claus hat, and everyone starts singing Christmas songs. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? So basically, my brother had passed the hat around and got any donations he could from Dad and the family and stuff like that to get some presents for me. And I was the only one that got anything because they're there for Christmas every year. I'm not. So basically, they were singing Christmas songs and all kinds of stuff like that to me, and they basically said, hey, they knew that was the next time I came back was going to be for the funeral, and that I wasn't going to get a Christmas ever again with my dad. So there was a bunch of really cool gifts that got given to me, from vintage BMX grips that I had as a kid the last gift was my brother handed me an iPad and said, hey, and obviously my dad and my brother pitched in the most, and some other people kicked in a little bit. But basically, this was the last gift given out on what we call a Christmas, even though it wasn't on Christmas, that my dad would have participated in. And it was a picture of the Ibanez on the screen of the iPad, and it said, this has been ordered. And there was like, my brother ordered it before he even like was able to ship out or whatever. And it was like pre-ordered. And so basically that guitar, since Dad hated Kiss as kids because of the church we grew up in and everything, the fact that, you know, I got this gift, and even if Dad only pitched in a little towards it, and it was, you know, to me it was the last gift that my dad gave anybody, the way I look at it, and same with my brothers, you know. And they knew how excited I was to get it, and Mom and Dad, as I got back into Kiss as an older man, they kind of would say, yeah, I'd have to tell them, Mom, I know as a kid you didn't like them, but they're not bad guys. They give money to the wounded warriors, and, you know, these guys are, you know, good people, you know. They do a lot of amazing things. Like, they're not what you think they are, you know. And so I tried to change my mom and dad's opinion of what Kiss was as an adult, and to be able to have this guitar. It's basically I consider the guitar a symbol of, like, my family's love for my dad and the last present he gave anyone. And it's kind of just a symbol of, you know, the battle that we went through with cancer and everything as well, you know. So I treasure that guitar more than probably my Tommy Thayer signature guitar or other guitars that I have that might be more expensive guitars.
Yeah, that's an awesome story, man. Thanks for sharing that on here. Again, that was one of my favorite videos you did, and I know it's a deep story, you know, not to get too somber on here, but, you know, I could definitely relate to you. You know, I lost my dad to cancer back in 2004. You know, he lasted probably a month after the initial diagnosis, so, I mean, it was such a quick thing, and so, you know, I could definitely relate to you, but, yeah, that's an awesome story, man.
Yeah, I just found out my sister, who's my oldest sister, I just found out she's got cancer like 2 days ago after I talked to you guys last.
Oh, man, sorry.
So now it's like the family, when we hear that word, it's a scary word for us, you know.
I know. Because now it's like with me, you know, they're all about checking me and shit as soon as I turn 40, you know. Now, but, well, you know, sending good vibes and thoughts and prayers and all that to your sister on behalf of myself and Branton. If she even sees this, but, you know, just putting that out there. And
yeah, thanks, guys.
Do you by chance have that guitar somewhere near that you can maybe show?
Yeah, it's right behind me here. I can show it to you.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
All right, here we go.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this guitar is pretty cool. I rarely play it. Like, I played a bunch the first few years I was learning, but the last year I was working so much I didn't get to play a lot. But basically, my nicer guitars I don't like to play because for some reason I don't like to get them dirty or something. And I have an old Silvertone. Over here I got used, and it's got a Seymour Duncan pickups in it. And it was like $80. It's scratched up, and it sounds amazing. And that's when I usually will play the most because I just don't want to have these get banged up on anything. I got two nice Les Pauls. One's a Cherry Sunburst, and one's a signature Tommy Thayer guitar. So I pretty much, you know, treat them like, I don't know, I shouldn't idolize them or treat them like they're gold. But to me as a kid, I would have never believed I could have them. So certain things I buy almost just to have, and certain things I never open, whether it's a Kiss doll, and then some things I will use and open as well.
You would you would probably rip your hair out or whatever you have left if you talk to the bass player in my Kiss tribute band. He has a stage played axe bass signed by Gene, and he's playing it in the band. He's playing it. And I'm like, dude, why the fuck are you playing that thing, man? Like, you're going to smear the signature. He's like, oh, no, I'm not worried about it, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, what I'm worried about is, you know, you get up by the edge of the stage and somebody in the crowd reaches up wanting to touch your guitar. and smearing the signature or something. I was like, "You're taking a chance there, dude."
Well, that's why
he
I
spits
like
blood too, doesn't he?
Every once in a while at the Expo, you'll find like a Kiss doll or something with a damaged box, and it's really cheap. And I'll buy something like that because then I can open it and enjoy it. Because most of the stuff I buy, I don't open it.
Last year, I found.
You'd think I didn't have any toys as a kid. Now I have to not only have all the toys, I gotta not open them.
Right. We just like to stare at them once we get older. But, yeah, last year I had found like a mixed bag of had all kinds of random Kiss stuff in it, and it had 3 reproduction boxes of the Mego dolls, and they were in perfect shape. And I didn't have really much use for them, so I ended up just throwing them on eBay and did all right. But I mean, I couldn't believe that I found that kind of thing on their dollar table. You find some great deals on that table, like especially with the old magazines and just whatever random stuff.
It was cool because I had that Gene doll in 1978. I got it as a kid. Well, when they re-released them again, the first run of those big dolls that came out a few years back, my brother bought all 4 of them for me as a gift for Christmas. Huh. The box was humongous because now the boxes they come in are so big for the 12-inch that I've started to collect just the 8-inch because they're so big. The box itself, but having all 4 of those, they hang in my bedroom wall, in that room, having those, and that's like, as a kid, I would have died to have all 4 of them, but
right.
My Gene Mego doll is pretty much in mint shape right now from 78 or 77 or whatever it was.
That's awesome, man.
I was going to ask him about favorite Kiss songs, but he said he likes them all, so that's...
Let's go with, how about, I'll ask you guys something, even though I'm on the guest. What are your guys' favorite costume of all time? And not every member. Just pick one member and one era. If you could have a free costume made for whether it's to display on a mannequin or wear yourself, what suit would you want? What member? What era?
Well, for me, Gene, it would be Creatures of the Night. Peter, it'd be Love Gun. Ace, it would be Dynasty. Paul, it would be Destroyer. Vinny, Creatures. Eric Carr, Creatures.
I can answer that real easy. I'd say it'd be the Paul Stanley from Dynasty.
Yeah.
With the purple?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, mine's between Ace's Dynasty and Gene's Creatures. So, that's tough.
Yeah, I'm an Ace Dynasty guy, but it's weird because I hear times when like Paul will talk about he hated those suits, or like Peter would say like once those suits come out that he's like it's all green and weird, like and just like they didn't like Unmasked and Dynasty when you hear them talk about it now almost, it's like I love those albums, But yeah, to me the Ace Dynasty suit was probably the coolest Kiss suit ever made. That's in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, the Ace and the Gene Creatures, man. Like those, that's a tough decision, but I'd probably have to go with the Ace.
See, because when at Indy Expo, usually each year I buy one Kiss doll, and I now get the 8-inch ones because they don't take up so much room. And I've bought one every year for the last 3 years in a row. This year I didn't because I made the Demon Shell purchase. But basically, I was going there because I know that the Dynasty dolls are supposed to be coming out, the big ones.
Oh, nice.
Somewhat in the near future. And also the Destroyer ones are coming out. And from what I heard from someone that I talked to at the Expo that, knows what they're talking about and is involved in the business of these toys, basically said the Destroyer dolls are pretty much already made. It's just... I think they're only going to be distributed through one website, and so that's why they haven't been released yet. But I think that we will see the Destroyer and the Dynasty dolls in the 8-inch and 12-inch, and so I was going to get the Ace one. That's what I wanted to buy.
That would be cool. I'd like to see them do the Creatures ones, too, instead of, the McFarlane figures.
Well, I said I wanted to see them do also a line of those dolls where it's like the Crazy Knights costumes and no makeup with like a Bruce Kulick doll too.
Just don't say it.
One where it actually shows. the body glove shirts or the crazy colors, the pink gloves that Paul wore. Like, I would love to see the dolls like that, because they can put no makeup on just as easy as they can make it with the makeup. So I would like to see some other lines of those dolls, even the one with, they probably will never do the one with Vinny in that lineup of costumes, because they don't really want to have anything to do with Vinny, and they don't want to give him any Pride money, because I would assume.
Don't say that.
Because of bad blood or whatever.
Don't say asylum dolls. Come on. Ugh. Those horrible
No,
costumes.
but the Crazy Nights, that's awesome.
I know, but...
But no. I love the video Who Wants to Be Lonely of Paul Stanley when he's in that yellow and pink outfit, the pink gloves.
Oh, my God.
I was reading a comment on YouTube, and someone goes, "Oh, I need some pink dishwashing gloves," and I'm in. The rubber gloves that come up, because that's what it almost looked like he was wearing. But
I think I just decided I'm going to start buying dolls one by one also, but I'm only going to buy the dolls that have my favorite costumes of each character. I'm not going to buy the whole set.
Yeah.
So
I'm not someone that has to have all. But yeah, there's certain lineups that I would want. The one that's the coolest, I'd be like, oh, I'm not. Usually, Peter will be the last person I buy. The Catman. Nothing against the Catman, but chances are I would buy the Gene doll or the Ace doll or the Paul doll of any series before the Peter Criss. But I did get a couple Peter Criss dolls in the past that I just thought were really cool,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love his Love Gun costume, and that's probably about it. But I love.
Mean, as a kid, Gene was my favorite when I was a kid. But as I got older, it got to be more like Paul and Ace. But when I was first a young kid, I think it was because my older brother got me the Gene doll, and Gene was his favorite guy, and I was. My brother, a lot of the things that he did, I got inspired from, as a younger kid. And so.
Brenton, are you first?
Anyway.
Yep, Brenton. We just lost Brenton. Now, I will say I love the makeup of Peter on the first album. I would like to get that fixed.
Yeah, I heard you talking about, I was watching one of your videos the other day, and you were talking about the Peter makeup. You liked that makeup. And I never really liked that makeup too much. And I know that Paul didn't like it. When he got made up like that, Paul in an interview said, well, he came to that thing, we were like, you ain't ever doing that makeup again.
I mean, it was so...
I think on the Dynasty album, all their makeup was at their best point at Dynasty.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, too.
On the cover.
I love how it has that kind of shiny look to it, and the colors.
And, well, Ace had the blue on his eyes, and it was really good.
Love that.
Peter's looked real good. Gene's, I don't like Gene's makeup now as much as then.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
The tall, skinny spikes and the weird spike that comes up the side,
Yeah. I'm kind of half and half with that. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, some of his earlier designs I hated a lot more than what I hate the current. So, I can kind of stomach that a little bit, but...
Okay, where do you guys want to go from here? I mean, one thing I would like to mention, if I can, just because I make all kinds of random Kiss-related videos,
yeah.
That I have some other video projects in the works, for anyone I could just throw it out there, that there's going to be a movie coming out called Crappy Little Dreams that's being produced by Cliff and Bobo from the TV show Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet. So any of my fans from my YouTube page that will see this video, because I'm obviously going to make a video on YouTube letting my viewers know to come check out this video. But the Crappy Little Dreams, it's coming out this year. It's being directed and starring a guy named Craig Flippy, who was a filmer for the show Finding Bigfoot. And it's kind of a comedy / documentary movie about Bigfoot, and kind of about finding Bigfoot, but finding yourself along the way. Kind of like a soul-searching movie about a guy who kind of discovers himself as he's on the quest for Bigfoot. If I had to sum it up in a ways, but anyway, stay tuned for that. But the other thing is, obviously, I wanted to mention this thing for anyone. I'm going to be doing a book review on the new Lydia Chris book that came out recently, and she sent me a copy of that book as a gift for Christmas. And it's just anyone that has the KISS books, I have pretty much all but Peter's book, and I got them all signed and stuff like that. But this book is so much thicker and better quality paper and all nothing but photos. Like, this is like better than all the other KISS books combined, you know. So for anyone thinking about getting it, you know, that's listening to this, you ought to definitely check it out. But I just wanted to share this cool autograph that she wrote in there. But I'm going to be doing a review on this book on my own channel, like here in the next couple months sometime. But she, let's see if I can get it on there clear.
Perfect.
But she wrote on there something like Merry Christmas and personalized it to me and stuff. But, yeah, I would like to see her at an expo. I've heard she's been to them before.
Yeah. It's funny with that lipstick because Branton sends me the same kind of Christmas cards every year with the lipstick print on them. But I have heard a lot of great things about that book, and that's like at the top of my list of one of the KISS books I want to get, along with The Life Forever. But I'm actually reading Peter's book right now. Just recently got it in, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's pretty entertaining. So definitely get that.
I also made a video. I've never put it out yet, but I actually filmed like the whole 45-minute conversation me and her had on the phone too.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't ever released it or put it on YouTube or anything like that. I just have it for my own personal stuff. But it was pretty wild talking to her and, you know, asking her about the old days about Peter Criss and, you know, some of the stories that I've read about, whether they were true or not or this or that. But the book is just so full of colored pictures that they're photos that you would never have seen, no matter how diehard of a KISS fan you are, how much you look on the internet, how many videos, how many interviews, how many Kissologies you got. You'll never see the photos that are in this book unless you got this book. And there are a lot of pictures, not in the makeup, of them shooting shotguns and, you know, hanging out at their house and crazy pictures. But I would say there's thousands of photos in this book.
And I still say there's got to be video out there somewhere of that kind of shit. Whether it's little 30-second clips and here and there, I don't care. I want to see it.
So who do you guys want to see for next year's Indy Expo? Is there anyone that you guys in particular would want to see?
I mean, I would definitely like to see Ace or Peter. If they got both, that would be a freaking dream.
Or Paul.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's the 20th anniversary of the Indy Expo next year.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd love to see.
This is going. I'm hoping that one year they did a 2-day, and I was kind of thinking that since this year's the 20th anniversary, maybe they'll do something extra big.
I hope.
Like, wouldn't it be great to get an acoustical jam session like the KISS do before, like the meet and greet? If we actually got to hear, you know, we think that it's just going to be Paul, but all of a sudden Paul's the only one doing the meet and greet, but the other guys are there for like a 2-hour jam, or, you know, I mean, if you're make-believe, you got to go all out, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I would love for them to get Paul, because that was one year that I did miss, was when Paul was there. We had already realized we wasn't going to be able to make it that year before they had even announced him, and then they announced him, and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, of all years to miss, like, that would have been, so I'd love for them to get Paul again, and like I say, Ace and Peter, and I'd love to meet Ken Kelly again, and guys like that, you know. Yeah,
the year that Paul was going to be there, I don't think he was even listed. It was like Bruce and Tommy that year. Yeah. And when everyone bought the tickets, that's what it was going to be, and all of a sudden they announced, because he had a book signing nearby, that Paul was going to be there.
Yeah.
Or something. So we didn't even know at first that he was going to be there. Next thing you know, we're like, Paul Stanley's there. You know, I got to ask him one question during the Q&A, and then I got to do a photo with him, and I made a snowboard DVD, and it's a video of me snowboarding down a volcano in the month of May, and it's blue skies, and I'm wearing the Volcom zip-up jacket of Paul Stanley while I'm shredding down a volcano, a glacier on a volcano, like 2.5 miles above the trees, and I made this killer DVD, and it was music from his solo album. So when I went to the meet and greet, I handed it to him and said, here's a DVD of me snowboarding down a volcano in your Volcom snowboard jacket, the Star Child signature coat, just a couple weeks ago. And he goes, oh, I got to see this. Now, he might have threw it away, but there's always part of me that says, well, he might have thrown it in and checked it out, you know?
Right. That's awesome, man. Yeah, those are like once-in-a-lifetime type of opportunities and experiences, you know? But, so, yeah, that's my dream is, you know, Ace, you know, Gene again. I'd love to meet Gene again, you know. Obviously, it's have them all.
See, the year Gene came, we didn't pay to do the Gene thing, you know? So we just went and did whatever else was going on that year, and you know, because I think it was like $300. I might be wrong, but
no, I want to say
it was kind of spendy.
Well, I want to say they were like $150 a piece, something like that. But you got
I don't remember.
You got the autographed monster picture disc, and then there was like the classic rock magazine. It was the set of all 4 covers from Monster, and some other stuff. So I mean, it was definitely worth it. Let alone, you know, meeting him and the Q&A and everything afterwards. And again, that was when it was a 2-day event.
Yeah, I mean, if I could go back in time, I probably would have done it. But like even this year, I love Eric Singer and Bruce, but I've met them a few times, you know. So therefore, this was the first year that we didn't do VIP or Platinum. Now, I recommend for anyone watching this, if you've never done it, go Platinum or VIP. And it all depends on the time. Like the one year you do Platinum or VIP, you get 5 or 6 free items. The one year it was like free hoodies and coats and things like that, to where it's worth paying for the coat for that price.
Yeah.
Now this year the VIP package, didn't offer it. You know, I already got a ton of KISS shirts and this and that. And me and my brothers, I'm so used to either getting up early to go to Platinum and wait in line, or to suit up in makeup and all that stuff. So I always have to get up really early, and it's a very hectic day for me. So this year we said, let's just go general admission, no makeup, and that way I can just sleep in, party the night before, you know, not have to be wearing boots around all day. I can go to and from the room when I need to, and I can just focus on having fun and making my video.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I normally do Platinum every year, but this year we had to get the tickets last minute, so it was only VIP available, which I was totally fine with that. Was still happy. Unfortunately, I had to get the one that had a shirt that wasn't my size, but again, I was glad to get it either way, plus the other couple extras that came with it. But yeah, I totally agree. Platinum's the way to go. You get all the extra stuff and some killer merch that comes with it.
And you get your autographs out of the way usually first. And, you know, people that haven't went to Expo, soon as they announce that thing, if you buy your tickets right away, you're going to have the lowest number.
Yeah.
Therefore, you will wait in line less. So the goal is to buy the tickets as soon as they announce, and then you'll have the lowest number. Then you can get up in the morning, get dressed, get down there, get your photos and stuff signed, bring it back and drop it off to the room, so you're not walking around carrying boots, guitars, big things that, you know, the first couple of years we had to learn the hard way. We stood in line forever, and we're like, God, I need a drink. I need to go pee. I need a snack. We didn't want to lose our place in line, because back then they didn't do 1 through 25, 25 through 50, this and that. And we kept thinking the line would move, but it was kind of slow. They definitely do it better now. But now I actually carry an empty backpack, so that if I buy stuff, I have somewhere to put it, and I don't have to carry it. I will have a bottle of water in there, usually like a candy bar, some Kleenexes, so if I have to blow my nose or get a drink or anything, I'm not like, oh, God, you know, if I get stuck in line. So I've definitely learned over the years, you know, things that make my life easier at the Expo. And as soon as I get something signed, I take it right back to the room, drop it off, so I don't got to worry about it getting damaged, come right back.
Definitely. It's learning from experience, and I give 100% kudos to those guys for all the hard work they do to put it on. They don't have to do it. You know, the tiny things that we complain about are just exactly that, tiny. I mean, overall, like, you know, it's a great experience. You get that family vibe. If you've never been to one, the first time you go, you'll feel that same vibe and understand what we talk about. If you think we're crazy when we say that kind of stuff, because it really does feel that way. You could just start talking to a complete stranger while you're in line or wherever, and it's talking about Kiss or whatever, and it's like you've known that person for 10 years, and it's an awesome feeling. And and if it wasn't for Keith and Steve and everybody else that's a part of it, we wouldn't have none of this. We wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Well, the thing that I like about it is the fact that since it's here in Indy, it's fairly close to us,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really the closest one in the United States to where we live, because we live in Ohio. And I remember one of the early ones that I went to, Bruce was there. And it's just like, he's like right there at the table. It's like, that's really Bruce Kulick.
Yeah.
He's like, because it's such a casual thing, and everyone is so comfortable, and whatever guest is there, they're very comfortable, and they can be honest, and they can be their self, and they don't have to worry about getting mobbed. They don't have to worry about anything. And I think that's the best part I noticed from the very first few that I started going to. How loose it is, and how it's just like these are real people, and it gives you a better appreciation of what they do and who they are, and what they've been through, because you don't really know until you hear them talk and you're in the same room with them. It gives you a completely different perspective. And, I probably won't ever get to the LA Kiss Expo or the Tokyo Kiss Expo or none of those. So the Indy one is the closest one I can get to. So I'm really glad that we live that close to where they put them on.
I agree.
Well, it's also, too, in the Q&As, a lot of times you get to realize that they're real human beings, too. Like, people go, ask Eric Singer, because a lot of times it's right around his birthday time. And my brother actually got a piece of Eric Singer's birthday cake right after they brought it to him at the meet and greet table. He said, share it with the fans, share it with everyone. I ain't going to eat the whole cake. But when they have Eric Singer there, they go, so what were you doing for your birthday? Were you partying? He's like, no, I was on a plane till 5 in the morning, and then I got here and checked into a hotel. And it's like, then you realize, like, this guy's could be at home with his family on his birthday, but he's getting on a plane here at 5 in the morning to sit in line and sign hundreds of autographs for fans. Now, everyone likes their job, but most people, when you go to work, you can't wait to get home. But yet they never give you that feeling of hurry up and get out of my way. Sure, they'd probably rather be with their wife or kids. Right. But a lot of the times, they give you the adequate time. They know that you paid money, and they give you, a good, whether it's 2 or 3 minutes, or, depending how some years it might be a little more hurried when there's more people. But on a year like this year, no one's hurried along. You get adequate time to talk to them, photos, shoot video, or whatever, and they're more than friendly,
Mm-hmm. Even this year, it's like Eric was flying out the next day to go to band rehearsal, flying all the way back out to California, the next day, and taking the time out to do the expo again. And, there was even funny stories in line, with him, chatting it up with all the people, and trading phone cases with a girl in line and all that kind of stuff. You just never know what to expect at those things. Makes it fun.
Yep. So, those guys put a lot of work into it, and there's always going to be things like that each person, including myself, would like to see maybe done differently, or this or that. But most of the expo, everyone likes how it goes down. Yeah. But until we plan something like that, they got to plan for hundreds of people, all the booths, the tribute bands, the hotel, dealing with all the stuff. So, I'm sure it's a lot more work than we can even imagine to set up something like this.
Yeah, it's got to be stressful, because not only that, you're worrying about setting that up, and then at the same time, you got a European tour right around the corner that you're involved with, making happen too. So it's like, you got to think all that extra stress and time.
Yeah. Keith runs Kiss Online, so he's got all of that too.
Yeah. And then he's filming video and uploading to a YouTube channel too, and he's busy.
Yeah, I feel like Kiss is the hardest working band you'll ever see.
And
like Eric said, the putting the makeup on and doing the meet and greet. Their concert isn't show up at a place, do a sound check, and then go on stage for 3 hours. It's an entire day long. Local news will interview them and stuff while they're in costume. They're in costume really early. They're in costume all day, doing meet and greets and photo ops, and and even after the concert, people that want to buy their Smash guitars or the guitars they played, they'll be doing meet and greet and more signatures after the show for the people that pay for those, super, if you want to buy the guitar they use or Smash. I mean, it don't even end for them right when they get off the stage for those moments,
Right, and the KISS crew, they don't get enough props and mention, but they're the hardest working crew there is. I mean, sometimes them guys aren't even completely off the stage and they're already tearing shit down. I mean, I stood there and watched them for as long as I could when the show was over. Even going to the top of the stairs, getting ready to leave the arena, I was still standing there watching them a little bit, just admiring it. I mean, everything about it.
Yeah, it's happened. They're packing it up, and they're trying to pack it up, clean it up, and get it put in those trailers and on the road to the next show as quick as humanly possible. And every hour is counting when they're playing a concert the next day in a somewhere 7-hour drive away or something.
Yeah. I was reading a funny story, that official KISS magazine that they gave everybody at the Expo. Did you guys read that?
No, I didn't get one because we were general this year.
Well, they got an interview in there with, I forget his name, but he's the stage manager. And they asked him about a funny road story. He said, a while back, I guess they were up around Cleveland, and at the end of everything, the merch guy was getting all the merch put away and packed up and putting it into that semi that it all goes in. Well, I guess some guy was wandering around back there. He was drunk, walking around, didn't have a shirt on. He got tired, sat in the back of the truck. He was back in the truck, fell asleep. They didn't know. They closed the truck like normal business. All right, you're ready to go. Go. 3 hours later, they stop at a truck stop and they hear all this banging, and the truck's moving. And they open it up, and the dude's still in the back of the truck. 3 hours later, and he's got a KISS shirt on, and he's like, "Give me the shirt back. It's not yours." And he's like, "Where the hell am I?" And the driver gave him $20 and sent him on his way. It's some crazy shit.
Yeah. So I mean, and who knows too? You never know. They might only have one good tour left in them because they're almost about 70 years old. Right. They've been talking about KISS 2.0 and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't think KISS wants to go out not on top. I don't think Paul or Gene are going to want to go out there. Paul, obviously, I love Paul to death, but his voice is obviously changing, and I'd rather hear him sing the way he does now than to not hear him sing. But there will come a time when Paul and Gene will no longer be touring, whether that's in a year or 5 years, but I don't see them at 85 years old bouncing around on platforms. So it's almost like every time that you go to one of these events and you see rock stars, things happen in life, family, friends come and go. And, not to say that I would wish anything bad, but I mean, I see young people that are taken from this planet, so I almost feel like every expo or every chance to meet or see them or something, you got to cherish it because there's not a ton of time left as them going to be touring the way it is now.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, it's like Paul said back during the farewell tour, they'd rather go out on top and people asking why instead of people saying, "Why don't you quit?" And, we even did an episode or two discussing the whole KISS 2.0 or, how much longer they'll be around a while back. So, we kind of have our feelings about it. And
I mean, I like tribute bands, so I'm sure if there was... Now, would it be Tommy and Eric and 2 other guys? Or would it be 4 new complete young dudes and it would just be like Mr. Speed is now called KISS 2.0? Would it even be called KISS 2.0 or would it just be KISS still? But I don't know how it's going to go. I can't imagine them calling it KISS 2.0. But if there was Tommy and Eric still in the band and Gene and Paul left and 2 new guys came on, then when Tommy and Eric stepped aside, 2 guys filled them in. You know what I mean? You could keep calling it Kiss long after they're gone, and sure, it wouldn't be Gene and Paul, but for young kids like we were, it didn't matter if it was Gene, what their names were, that Gene was a school teacher. Nobody gave a crap. The songs, the makeup, the costumes. When you're a kid, that's all that matters. And for a young kid, if they saw Mr. Speed and they were a 5-year-old and you told them it was Kiss, they wouldn't know it wasn't Kiss. So, right. I mean, I could see many Kiss fans still wanting to go to the shows. I don't know if they'll be able to charge the same prices or whatever, but I still think that they'd be able to go on tour, and Kiss fans are so die-hard that they go, I don't care. I still want to see someone breathe fire. I don't care who's doing it in that damn suit, but I want to see someone with dragon boots on spitting blood all over.
Well, I do know Eric and Tommy have said quite a few times that they have no interest in continuing if Gene and Paul's not there. So it would probably be all brand new guys, or I don't know. And I'm not ready to think about it. It's like, I think I mentioned on a recent episode, or the one we tried to do, I feel like I need to see them at least a couple more times before I could feel like, okay, this might be it. Like last year's show, like, no, I'm not ready to say like, okay, that might have been the last time I'll get to see them. Like, I feel like there's that part of me that needs to see it at least a few more times to be able to officially kind of let go. And it's going to be a sad day when Gene and Paul throw in the towel, because they're going to do it together. It's not going to be Paul leaves and they bring in a different Gene. Yeah. Them two, when they're done, it's going to go out together, and it's going to be a sad day, man. And I'll tell you what, man, if things really did end back in the farewell tour and shit, we wouldn't be having these expos right now, and all the new fan base and whatnot. I mean, we wouldn't have had all that if they had really threw it in. I mean,
I'm from the old days. I love the original guys, but I mean, I love Tommy and Eric just the same. Right. I can't stand the Kiss fans that don't like Tommy and Eric.
Right. And it's like you were kind of saying about whoever their names are. It's like, I'm kind of that way. It's like, okay, with Gene and Paul, it's like, I want them to be in it, but as far as the rest of the guys, I don't really care. It's like, as long as the band is still out there in one way or another, because we've had...
Well, think about this, too. When you go see a tribute band,
mm-hmm.
Each tribute band is different. I don't care what tribute band's going to be at the Indy Expo, and I don't care if one's a plumber and one's a painter, if the guy's got blonde hair under the wig or black hair under the wig, if he's got children or no children, none of that matters. Put on the suits and act like Kiss.
Yep.
That's what you got to do, And if you do it good enough, I almost think I'm at Kiss, even though I know I'm not.
Right. Exactly. You gotta try to be authentic as much as possible. Pretty much everything down to the voices is pretty much as authentic as you can get. I mean, depends on how hard you work.
Yeah.
The show you want to put on.
Yeah. If Kiss does like what we were talking about. They were talking a little bit about, or Doc McGee or someone said something about the Rockstar NXS. They were thinking about doing a show like, where they found their next band, the new Kiss 2.0. I would love that if they did that. I mean, I wouldn't want to see Kiss go away. I wouldn't want Paul and Gene to hang it up, but I would love the fact that you could watch a show seeing the process. I think that'd be very interesting.
It'd be even cooler if the viewers could text in, and the viewers would actually get to pick who we want to be the next Paul.
Yeah, because I think that'd be the best.
I mean, the dude's got to have the flair. He's got to have the voice, and you got to have the. I mean, I see tribute bands where the guys sing real good, but he don't have the right build. That. Mr. Speed's about as close as it gets for me. But I've seen better Genes in other tribute bands. I've seen better this or that in other tribute bands. Like, you got to take the best Gene that's out there, the best Ace, the best everyone, and put them together. And they might all be people that try out for this show that would be have been in past tribute bands or still are in them. But it might be, we're going to take the singer from Mr. Speed, the Gene from this band, the this from this band, and so on.
You know why I wouldn't like that idea?
Because it would ruin a bunch of tribute bands?
No, because it'd be nothing more than a glorified boy band where it's just four guys just getting thrown together who don't have any chemistry with each other and aren't a band going into it. And
yeah, true.
Busting their ass and putting that kind of work into it, you know, just throwing it together.
I mean, it'll never have the energy, or they're never going to be like four original guys like it was before, who busted their ass together and made it what it was, because even that didn't work. Right. As sad as it might be, taking four random people together that are like, even though it's not the ideal package because the chemistry ain't there, as a business deal, it might actually work better because the four originals, they tried every time they get together, they separate because even with all that chemistry and everything, it's not enough. You got to be, you know, like team members and, you know, all for one completely, you know.
Right, but if they're just throwing the four guys together, I don't see that happening. And if they do it that way, I swear I will not see it. Like, I don't want to just see a thrown together group of guys. If it's a tribute band that becomes or if they at least take guys from tribute bands, I would feel a little better if it was that way, but not just.
What if they take a member of the Backstreet Boys and a member of NSYNC and a member of New Kids on the Block and then make them put on Kiss makeup and.
Then I'll be there. So, I don't know. I hope it's like another, I don't know. I'd like to say 10.
5 years?
I was thinking that, but I'd like to say 10 as maybe a long shot. But
well, every time I see them, they're better than the time I've seen them before.
Well, I mean,
and the last, on the Freedom to Rock tour, that's the best they've ever been that I've seen them.
Well, I mean,
I would hate to see them. I would hate to not get to see them again.
Well, you know, look at Paul McCartney and Bob Dylan, and, you know, he's like 74, and he's still out there almost like he's still a young guy, you know, the way he plays and sings. And so I like to think that Kiss...
It's just with Kiss, they're jumping, Paul's jumping up and down in 8-inch heels.
Yeah, but he don't really jump around anymore.
I mean,
neither
I don't
does
know.
Gene.
I mean, they obviously have a more demanding show flying through the air or whatever they do to where... obviously, they have to be in a certain amount of shape. Just the amount of weight that Gene's armor is and the boots he has to wear and things like that, it's harder on them, you know.
But they're all pretty...
That's why the shows are now no longer than an hour and a half, probably.
But they're all pretty much planted to the ground now. They're not jumping around like they used to. And
yeah.
You know,
I miss watching the old footage. When I watch the old footage and see Paul's body movements back in the day, like I watched this... There's a live, if you do 1977 Live Largo, it's a search on YouTube. There's a full show. And his banter and his movement of how he moves, it was definitely the coolest. When I go to watch an old concert, that's the one I almost go to every time.
Yeah, I love that one. I love the Houston 77. Yeah. But, you know, the recent casino dates they just did last week, you know, Paul didn't even fly out for Love Gun now, so I'm not saying that they probably dropped that idea, but at least for those two shows they didn't do it. So once they hit this European tour, we'll see what happens, but I'm sure it'll be back.
Well, I think they're going to, my opinion is I think they'll do another album and another tour.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I mean, Gene...
One last album. I never got into Monster, though. I've never been inspired to buy it. I love a song or two, but that's about it. I don't know why. I try to listen to a song or two.
I like Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom was, I think, way better than Monster for sure.
See, I'm the opposite, but I like them all. But
I like both of them, but I don't know. It's like that classic '78.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah, that's.
Have you heard that?
Did you hear that classic '78?
Yeah, and there's a good amount of songs that they all sing on Sonic Boom too.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard that classic '78 EP that's out there?
The one that comes in Sonic Boom, you mean?
No, it's
Or there's some extra DVD that comes in Sonic. No, that's the remastered stuff.
Nothing to do with Kiss officially. It's four guys.
Oh, it's the band that made like an album that What If Kiss made it. I forget the name of it.
Classic 78.
It's all new songs, but there's songs that sound like Kiss during 78.
Yeah. Well, to me, it sounds more like Dress to Kill. Band. Yeah, it is. But to me, it sounds more like Dress to Kill, which is awesome. But they call it 78.
The Gene song sounded almost just like Gene, too.
Oh, yeah. Even the Peter song. But yeah, that's a really cool EP, and I made sure to buy it off of iTunes because I wanted to support those guys.
What was the name of it again?
Classic 78.
Oh, yeah, Classic 78, yeah.
And,
awesome.
The title of the EP is called Side 1. So,
and I think what we were saying earlier about Kiss 2.0, I think that this Classic 78 is guys that are at a different period in their life than current Kiss is. So I think that's why they can emulate.
No, don't freeze up again.
they can emulate Kiss back in a certain time period, and Kiss can't seem to do that as much. So I think if they had four brand new guys in Kiss 2.0, I think they could emulate that better.
Well, that right there
possibly.
That right there is what Kiss 2.0 should be, is those four guys.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what they look like.
To make the four guys need to bring the, if they're younger guys too, they can bring that, try to bring the classic look when they're all slimmer, smaller, younger, maybe a little more jumping around and stuff like that. Because Gene jump around a lot. He'd squat down and jump up and, kick his feet more around. And Paul used to jump around, do the splits, and Ace drop down to the knees thing. And,
I have no idea what these guys look like.
I'm sure it would, no matter what, it would be as good as any tribute band you ever seen, and it would have the Kiss financial backing. So it would be like, Mr. Speed on steroids with, all the bombs and everything. It would still be an amazing show, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what these guys look like. One of the guys might be 400 pounds for all I know, but they sound like them more than any tribute band I've ever heard.
Well, I think there's videos of their tribute band. I think there's videos of them guys playing on YouTube.
Oh, really?
I think.
Because from what I understood, they kind of try to keep anonymous.
Because I thought when someone shared the video and I was looking up stuff, I might be wrong, but you can check it out later. But I think there's videos of them.
Because they had one of the guys on three sides. It was just audio. And I could have swore he was saying something about, they kind of try to lay low a little bit, and they're not really looking to play out or anything like that.
They pick the size of the napkin when they go to a restaurant so they can put it over their face. Is that what he
said? Yeah.
Awesome.
But hey, we don't know. For all we know, those could be the guys getting groomed to take over for Paul and Gene, and they're just putting it out like that, for all we know.
Maybe it is Paul.
For all we know.
Or they might have a studio band like that plays, and then it's another band that does it live.
Yeah, maybe it's...
Because that's how it was in the old days. You have Kulick playing on the record, but yet Ace would be doing the live show. It ain't always the same.
Yeah.
They may get the people that bring that vintage sound back if they want to do an album, but yet maybe there'll be a better live performing band that, is slim and trim and 6 feet tall. You won't see a guy in a Kiss costume ever that's 5 foot tall. That's just the way it is. I mean, Eric Carr, if someone said that they had his boots during the era when Eric Carr was in the band, the other guys, their boots got a little lower so they didn't look so tall. And he had 9-inch platforms, they said. Instead of 7 or 8, he would have 9 inchers. The other guys went down to 5 or 6 inchers so that way that he didn't look so short, because he was even shorter than Peter.
That's weird, because they didn't have any problem with Peter and Eric Singer showing their height, though. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure Peter, they maxed out his boots too, I'm sure.
But you could tell how short he was compared to them.
Yeah, but I've seen now that I've looked later in life, I've seen photo shoots where they'll have Peter standing on a box.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even with his platforms on, he'll be on like a box or something.
I think they did that with Eric Carr a lot too.
And then Gene will crouch down and stuff and make, so that way they're not so tall.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to hit on, or we can start wrapping this up?
Yeah, I think I've covered pretty much anything I want to cover. We can do a little wrap up and then,
all right,
look forward to seeing it, because obviously I've done a lot of videos, but I never do these kind of podcast type things like that. So it'll be even fun for me to check out to see the final, how it, plays together. And
yeah, definitely.
I'll definitely share it on the Real Kiss Army Facebook page. Obviously, I'm a site administrator on the Real Kiss Army Facebook page, and obviously, I'll put a link to your podcast Facebook page and to your. I'll try to link it as much as I can and get it out there too.
Cool.
Much appreciated.
Very. All right, so I think we're gonna go.
Now you got to get David on here. That's who you got to get on here next.
Who?
David from Kiss Replicas.
Yeah, we're talking to him.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do it. He's a great guy, man. So that would be fun because I talked to him at the Expo and stuff like that. But I mean, this is an hour and a half or something where you can really get out the questions you want to ask him.
Exactly.
I want to talk to him about the Gene codpiece from Creatures of the
Night. Oh man. I took some pictures of that from the side view of his booth that time, and just the side view pictures of it. I cropped it too, put it on Facebook. Everyone's like, "Oh my goodness!"
All right, well, I think we're gonna start winding this episode down. Jason, I want to say thanks again for coming on the show. It was fun. Definitely want to.
Yeah.
You're definitely welcome back on anytime. We'd love to have you back. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to talk about. Already excited for next year's Expo. Now that we're, we kind of know each other now, it'd be cool to see each other in person again and hang out and do a bunch of dumb, crazy shit. So. So
we're gonna try to get that room again. I know that.
The presidential suite. But
it was funny because they're like, even the Kiss guys didn't have a room that big. We were doing it up so big, it was awesome.
Doing it big, baby.
Oh yeah.
So once again, be sure to go check out Jason's YouTube channel, Mountainous. The links will be in the description, and you'll see it on the screen at times too. Again, go check his channel out for all the Kiss videos and even all the other stuff he does. I enjoy all the nature videos, out hiking and all that stuff. I enjoy watching those too. And so there's a little bit of everything.
And basically, too, if someone goes to my channel if someone goes to my channel right now, the Kiss Indy Expo video is actually featured as the main video on my page from this year. So it won't be hard to find it.
Yeah, be sure to check that out. Stay tuned. He'll be releasing more info on that Bigfoot movie. I'm interested to see that myself, and then look for his review of Lydia Chris's book down the road as well. So a lot of good content on there, man. So anything else you want to wrap up with, Branton? Or no, he's froze. He's frozen with fear.
Is he froze? Yeah. Say, we're lucky we had some technical, just for everyone who watches, we had quite a bit of technical difficulties with different.
Any closing statements from you guys, or before we get out of here?
Just that you guys now that we're about done, you guys are sounding like R2-D2 again, because on my end of the internet, it's kind of a little slow. Due to the fact I live in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I guess we better get the fuck out of here.
But anyway, that last thing you just said was something about, is there any final, I think, right?
Yeah.
No, just thanks for having me on. It was fun to share the stories, and hopefully anybody that likes any Kiss-related videos or haven't been to an expo, or whether you've been to other ones other than Indy and you wonder how the Indy expos are, you can definitely check out the Indy Expo video on my channel. And like I said, just by typing Kiss Indy Expo, Mountainous Rockumentary, and then putting any year behind that, you'll be able to watch every year's videos on YouTube. It's very easy on my channel to find the videos. I also put them on playlists as well.
Yeah, so go check it out. Some entertaining stuff. Also, before I forget, be looking out for more info on the Bigfoot movie that he talked about earlier. I know I'm definitely curious to see it. Also, his book review on Lydia Chris's book, Sealed with a Kiss, coming up down the road. So be looking forward to all that content coming out on his channel. So, Brandon, anything you wanted to close with? Or
I just want to tell everybody out there to rock and roll all night and party every day.
Half of the day.
The good words to live by.
That's right. All right, then. So we're going to get out of here. Until next week, we will see you later.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Until the next one, they're Mountainous out.
See ya.